We've already broken down the side of pork, and now I'm just going to concentrate on the shoulder. These days, people are really interested to know where their meat comes from and the traceability. So it's very important to buy Bord Bia Quality assured pork. I'm just going to start off here by taking off the trotter, which is already almost done for me. We can stuff the trotter. We could use it in a stock, or we could just boil it and eat it like they used to do years ago. They used to be wrapped in newspaper, and instead of a fish and chip, that's what you'd be going home with. The next bit, I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to just take the bone off, and then that'll expose the rest of the meat. Just follow the bone itself. So I'm following it in around here. And this will expose the neck fillet. The neck fillet is here. You can see the start of the neck fillet, and it runs all the way down here, this part here. Nature is actually telling me where to go, so I'm following the seam of the meat right down. So we have the neck fillet, this is what the neck fillet is, it's right there. So just take off that little bit of rind. And that's the lovely neck fillet. And traditionally this would be used for bacon and cabbage. It's a cheaper cut of meat. It's fantastic. It's beautiful, beautiful cut of meat. Now the next piece I want to take off the whole shoulder itself. I'm going to use the shoulder blade, which you can kind of see, it's coming down around here. I want to use that as a guide. So I'll just cut in here. I'm following the shoulder blade right the way down. So again, I'm just going to use the shoulder blade here, just move it, and you can see the joint, the ball and socket joint there, and that's actually nature telling you where to cut. So I'm just going to go in there and just release that. Just like that. So again, we've got lovely bones for stock, and none of this is wasted. We keep every bit of it. There's a joint in here, but it's completely different than the ball and socket joint. It's an elbow joint, as I would call it. So now that we've got the bone out, again, we're not wasting any bit of it. This is going into a stock pot. Now I've exposed where the ham hock is. So I'm just going to release this, and I'm just going to follow the seam of where the meat is. And that's a lovely hock. If you're making ham hock terrine or that, I would cure this in a salt solution. Or equally, you could roast it and score it very finely with a Stanley blade, just like this. And what I do with that, I'd rub it with salt and I'd roast it. And being on the bone, it's far superior because it's actually the flavor of the bone that's giving that meat a lot more taste. So now I'm left with the shoulder, a boneless shoulder of pork. And again, I just want to clean it up a small little bit because this piece of the meat, again, this would be used for sausages, for pork terrines, that kind of stuff. Nothing is wasted off it. This has got so many uses. We could slow roast it as it is. You could use that then for pulled pork. You could use it for pork rillette. So if you score the pork itself lengthways, and again, you're using a Stanley blade, so just like that. If you don't score the meat, the skin will bubble, and you've lost that beautiful crackling. The skin will just all come off in one big piece. So I just want to cut down the muscle. The reason I'm cutting the muscle down like this is I want to flatten out the meat. And by doing this, when I roll this up, you're going to have an even joint of meat, which will cook evenly in the oven, and it'll be perfect. I think what's very, very important to learn is how to tie a butcher's knot. And basically how I do it is I start in the middle, just lift up the piece of string that's attached to the roll and give yourself a bit of an overlap. Bring it around and under. So you do that once, you bring it around and under twice, and you create a slip knot. And then with the back of the knife, I just tighten it up like that. So you continue on like this until the joint is properly secure. So this is the finished rolled shoulder. I've got the bits and bobs for sausages, the crew bean, the neck fillet, I've got the hock, and then the bones for stock. So that's what we got out of that shoulder. Going back to the full shoulder, traditionally, when this is cured, this is the collar for bacon and cabbage. Alternatively, you can just roast the whole lot very slowly for 5-6 hours and have a beautiful, beautiful piece of meat.